think of the Middle Ages, we tend to think of the Dark Ages. We assume that for 1,000 years, humanity just stopped thinking. But hidden inside the cold stone walls of 14th century monasteries, something else was happening. A small group of men were working on a project that would change the world. They weren't building weapons and they weren't building wealth. They were building the world's first programmable computers, and they were doing it for the most surprising client imaginable, the Pope. To understand the machine, you have to understand the problem. The medieval church was facing a logistical nightmare called the computus. They needed to calculate the date of Easter. This sounds simple to us, we just check our phones. But Easter is a movable feast. It relies on a chaotic dance between the solar year, the lunar cycle, and the 7-day week. These 3 cycles do not like each other. They never line up perfectly. For a medieval abbot, getting the math wrong meant celebrating the resurrection on the wrong day. It wasn't just a typo, it was a one-way ticket to hell. The calculations were grueling. They took weeks. The monks needed a way to automate the math. They didn't have silicon, so they used the only high-tech material they had, brass. Enter Richard of Wallingford, a blacksmith's son turned abbot of St. Albans. Richard was the Steve Jobs of the 1320s. He suffered from leprosy and chronic pain, yet he spent his life designing a device he called the Albion, the all-by-one. The Albion was a mechanical masterpiece. It tracked the sun, the moon, the tides, and the eclipses. But the genius wasn't in what it did, but how it did it. Richard invented a system of differential gearing. Imagine trying to divide a circle by a number that doesn't fit. Richard built gears that could effectively hold the remainder and carry it over to the next calculation. He was storing data in physical teeth. He was writing code in metal. Now historians often point to the Antikythera mechanism, that famous ancient Greek device, as the true first computer. And they're right. But the Greeks' technology was lost when their civilization fell. The reason we have computers today is because the church kept the flame alive. The monks operationalized the Antikythera. They turned scientific curiosity into necessary infrastructure. The workshops where Richard built his Albion became the training grounds for Europe's clockmakers. Those clockmakers trained the instrument makers, who eventually built the machines of the Industrial Revolution. So the next time you look at your smartphone, remember, it wasn't built in a lab, but in a prayer hall. And its purpose wasn't to connect us to the internet, but to connect us to the divine. If you want to debug more history, hit that subscribe button and tell us in the comments, what other Dark Age myths should we bust next?